there again. All right, well, tonight's another Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. March, April, May, it's May 1st. Welcome to our Sunday night conversation with Dr. D. Tonight, you're in for a treat, primarily because last week we've introduced a crypto platform that really is standing out. And it's standing out primarily because we have entered into a new realm of what they call crypto, not even crypto mining, crypto farming. And last week, the goal was to just get an introduction to this thing to see exactly what it was and experiment with it a little bit. And to my surprise, this thing called crypto farming does have its negative spots. But there again, this particular company that we've introduced last week through the contact of Allison Bennett has shown us that this thing can produce. I'm going to share my screen here for everybody so you can see the results of what I'm talking about. Can everybody see my screen?
We're in the car.
Yes.
Okay. All right, no worries. For those of you who are in the car, I'll just describe it well enough so everyone else can confirm. However, we've deposited close to $11,000 in this MetaFiYielders platform. Let's say it started from Tuesday. So from Tuesday to Friday, I have sitting in my account balance over $1,417 sitting in the account that I can withdraw back to my crypto wallet. Now, that's over $1,000 every 3 days. I'm just going to let that resonate for a while. $1,000 every 3 days, that can pay a huge bill. The idea for us to even venture in this crypto space is I'm constantly talking about building portfolios. Whether your portfolio is like ours, that includes 50% real estate, 30% buying of businesses, and then another 20% in the passive space. Well, this is in that 20% passive space. Now, for some of you who own a business, right? This wasn't around when we had opened our business, but the general thought of how we're planning on using these crypto investments for massive wealth appreciation, even on our business side, we've aggregated all of our business expenses and our personal expenses and decided that in order to get out of debt, we personally need somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 per month. Now, with that said, suppose we're making anywhere from $1,000 a day in these platforms. Would we make our obligations? Of course we would. Now, suppose we jump that up to $2,000 per day. So the goal for me and my family is over the next 15 days, jump this up to whereby we're doing $2,000 per day through multiple platforms. We're going to use MetaFiYielders as one, and next week we'll introduce another one next week. But we feel that in business, if we don't have to constantly hunt for clientele and these things are meeting our goals, then guess what? I'm now contemplating retirement in the next 6 months. Not retirement from working or investing, but just cutting back and scaling back to the tune of trying to enjoy life a little bit more. Because now what it means is you can be completely out of debt in that time frame. and starting to invest a little bit more in other asset classes, other areas, whether it be more in business, whether it be more in real estate. So I'm thinking, for me and my family, these things are by no means a way out, but it can accelerate. It looks like it can accelerate the growth of your money a little bit faster than anything else that I've seen. And yeah, I've seen a lot. I don't think they can beat me as a trader yet. However, this also, for those of you who are traders in the Forex market as well too, this is also another way of scaling up your Forex account. So this particular platform is doing 3.3 percentage points per day. It's not compounding. And how they make their money, the owner had a Facebook meeting this week, and they make their money through something called crypto farming. And they're lending their monies out on a DeFi platform so that they can find other crypto lenders in the space that they can lend their liquidity pool to. So there again, once you make a contract in this space with them, that contract, the duration of their contract is 41 days. And they pay out based on their lending mechanism. And even though you might think 3.3 percentage points is high, they're getting as high as 30 percentage points, and they're distributing it through their investors. Now, they're not a financial platform. They are what's called a software platform. So hence, there's a certain requirement of a license that they need in order to get it, to get all the rights, to fully operate in the space. And they're operating out of Australia. And I think it's Perth, Australia. And this company is only 4 to 5 weeks old. Yes, it is new. So there again, only invest what you could stand to lose. Now, in order to mitigate those investments, I'm divesting into 9 other platforms similar to this. But since we introduced this platform last week, I wanted to go ahead and showcase my results as to what I can withdraw. Now, as we know from the presentation last week, in order to qualify for the 3.3 percentage points per day, you need a minimum of $2,500 in there. And we know the process is you have to get a crypto wallet. After you get a crypto wallet, you then have to transfer either your Bitcoin, Ethereum, TRC20, ERC20. I think this one also goes with BNB, over to that specific contract that is designed in here. When you hit the create deposit account, all the information will come up when you hit the create deposit account. So that's about it in a nutshell for this particular platform. I will let Allison say a couple of more words on it, just for posterity's sake, since she had introduced me to the platform. And I can't thank her enough for accelerating the growth of our revenues to this tune. And I'll give you another idea. As soon as these account balances for us hit 2,500 or 2,600, we will utilize that to create another contract out of the monies that were generated in here. And every $2,500 at 3.3 percentage points earns $82.50 per day. Now, that $2,500 that you started out with, that's protected. And according to the program and the manual, I'm only in for about 10 days or so. I have another 31 days before my contract expired to see what the doubling effect of the $2,500 contract is. So I'm longing to see the doubling from the 25 to 5,000. That means I can withdraw double the amount the following month. And then I'm waiting to see what that doubling effect is for the following month as well too. So Allison, if you want to say a couple of words about this particular platform.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Very exciting times. Glad to be introduced to your group last week. I think it's a perfect melding of what you guys have been looking for and what we didn't even know out here was available. So this is fantastic. So yes, I want to make it very clear. It's yield farming. That's actually the terminology that this particular platform is using, yield farming. So if you Google that, you'll find out what that is in the crypto space. Very interesting, very profitable, and also very sustainable. That's important because we want this platform to pay out for as long as possible so that we can make our money from it, right? So the owners are making very sure, and they keep telling us and being very transparent about the fact that they are telling us how they are keeping it sustainable, and they're protecting it and protecting our funds and everything. So if you go and find out more about the company, you'll see their mission, what their plans are. It's really fascinating. The doubling effect is amazing because until I asked what I call now the $1 million question, the $1 million question I will put in the chat a little later, but it goes like this. I asked directly to the powers that be with this company to make it very clear how this works. I said, so with the 2,500 that I put in, I'll be getting 3.3% interest daily, and also to draw off of daily if I want to. At the same time, the 2,500 will still gain the 99%, and in effect doubling the 25 to 5,000, in addition to the 3.3 interest that I could pull off daily, which equals to 24.75 in one cycle. It's a 30 business day cycle, 42 days in total. And they came back and said yes. And I have proof of that conversation. I did a screenshot for that so you could see that. The company said that. Once I understood what they were actually doing, I had to just blow Mr. Devaughn Dames' phone up. I couldn't let him miss this opportunity, knowing how influential he is in showing people how to make money. And it's something that he just did not know about, and I was able to help him understand this. I found out about. I mean, it just marries with what you guys are doing so well. So in essence, let's go back over that. Your 2,500, or in his case, he has 11,000. His 11,000, whatever was put in this contract for that period of time, is going to double. In addition to where it says account balance, it's going to equate to almost as much in interest that he can just utilize for the month, every day, having the amount put in every day that he can just pull out and utilize, in addition to the 11,000 doubling. So next month, he'll be working off of 22,000. 22,000 in interest, it'll be about 21 and change. And in addition to that, his 22 is going to double to 44. So this is a very very profitable platform.
Allison, there's a little feedback.
Yeah. So I was trying to mute everybody. Let me unmute. Allison, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So I've
Do
muted
I have
everybody.
an echo?
No, you don't have an echo, but someone had their mic open, so I muted everybody.
I see. Okay. So does everyone, I just want to make sure everyone who's tuned in right now understands what I just said. Because I don't want you to miss this. The doubling effect is not changed by the fact that whatever is in your account balance, which will accumulate daily from the interest, 3.3 of whatever is in your deposit area, active deposit area, that is going to be what you're drawing the 3.3% off daily, in addition to your deposit doubling in that 30 business day, 42-day cycle. That is how this platform is paying out. And they're paying out instantly. Very quickly. I won't say very quickly. I've withdrawn quite a bit from here already and deposited, of course, first, and it moves very quickly. This is not predicated. This is really important. This is a completely passive platform, which means you don't have to tell. Devaughn didn't have to tell anyone about this, and his 11,000 is going to grow monthly and double and double and double, and he'll be taking the interest off, whether or not he told one person, no one, or everyone. This is not an MLM networking requirement. Now, do they give you wonderful incentives and bonuses if you do build a team? Absolutely. And I'm sure he'll show you or talk to you about how you could do that. But this is also, I want to make sure you understand, this is not predicated on the fact that you have to build a team to make this money do what I just said. No, you don't. But what a wonderful thing to share.
Yeah. Now, I had an interesting question this week. One of the questions was asked by Tori Minster. She said, and I think she had signed up. So I had two people signed up on my team this week. Let me bring up my team holdings here. John Masag is one. He did, I guess I got to relog in. John Masag became a partner under me. He put in 2,600 bucks. They gave me a bonus. Let me bring that up. All right. So John Masag did 2,600, and we had another member that did 560. And as these amounts grow, so for the first allotment, they decided to give me a bonus for $221.60. And once you hit a $25,000 level, you get an additional bonus on top of that. So I think the next level after here, they'll give me probably about 2,500 bucks or so. And we do have two members putting in, well, according to what they say, they're putting in $30,000 each next week. So that should get me to rank number one. In addition to that, the question that was asked for those of you who are in business, and this is where you leverage earning in this space to support your business endeavors. The question that was asked was, what do I have to look like, Devaughn, in order to attract the likeliness of getting approval from the SBA in this crypto space? Well, I answered the young lady, and I told her, I said, in order to get approved from the SBA space, or how you would leverage this, because then this would not be considered income. This is now capital gains on your personal side. Now, if you have a business and it's been in business for the greater of 2 years, great for you. However, you leverage the earnings from these crypto spaces and you put them into your business. Once that go into your business, you now have what's called a contributed capital. That contributed capital is the owner's equity in order for putting monies into their business. You have a business, it's greater than 2 years, it's earning some revenue. you now have sufficient capital now through these mechanisms in order to qualify for predominantly anything you want in business. And you can get with Frank Scanavino later on, who is on this call, by the way, to get the specifics on what your picture within your business need to look like in order to qualify for funding. Now, how you use that funding, yes, it's for your business, but at the end of the day, if you're generating revenues from here, that can be an interesting combination for your business, primarily because if you have all of the sufficient revenue in order to cover all of your expenses, even with an SBA note, imagine how fast you can accelerate your business to the heights that you couldn't even believe, because now all your expenses are covered. I'm going to let that sit with you for a while. But Frank, if you can, just introduce yourself very briefly so that everyone here could know exactly who you are. And when it's time for them to go and get their SBA, you would be the packaging company in order to do it. Oh, you have to unmute, Frank. All right, well, Frank is.
I got
You're there?
Hi, Devaughn.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. This is Frank Scanavino. My company is International Marketing Group. We're a packaging and processing company for debt and equity financing, including SBA loans. Our company has been in business for 12 years, and we have people that can help you through this process. We do mainly purchase of commercial real estate through SBA, because there are some unique programs for companies, especially companies in business for 2 years. Devaughn will email my information to you so that if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call me. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much, Frank. Well, and Frank is a certified broker in that space, just to add to what he had mentioned. But nonetheless, if you're in business and you need capital, then that's one way of going about it. I will send his information out on an email after the call, and we will certainly love to engage you on that front. Now I'll open up the session for a Q&A whilst we have Allison on the call. And what I will do next week is introduce another platform, similar in concept, but so that we can all spread our risk level out. But the goal, as I said, the goal for me and my family is we need to get to $2,000 to $3,000 to even $4,000 per day. Once we hit that level of wealth, now you're looking at over $1 million a year, something along those lines, and constantly exponentially growing every 30 to 45 days. So technically speaking, that will grow into much more than $1 million a year. But once you're at that level, the minimum level for your income now is $1 million. So that's the goal. So I'll open up for Q&A. Please unmute and ask away your questions whilst we're here.
Hey, this is Orlando. I have one question. As far as the deposits, how often are we supposed to be depositing the money? And is it once a month or just once or every quarter? How does that work?
It's as often as you want,
Andrea?
Orlando. It can be one time, it can be 2 times. They're very specific contracts. So
Okay.
Every time you deposit, that goes to a specific deposit.
Okay.
Right. So you determine your level of commitment as it relates to the number of times you want to deposit.
Devaughn, I have a question. Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Where did you go?
Okay, perfect. It was to gain, and I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke up there for a second, but go ahead. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, can you just explain again about the capital gain and receiving the money? How you mentioned capital.
Yeah. All right, the capital gain.
It's just
Yeah, can you hear me? The capital gain component,
yes.
that's going to be specifically your relationship between you and your CPA, correct? So just as you invest in stocks, that come under the capital gains component. However, in the crypto space, that's a very similar relationship, especially when you convert the crypto back to cash and it goes back to your account, right?
Yes.
So that's the specific category for taxation is concerned. However, you're gonna have to sit with your CPA and talk to them about this very same thing, because suppose you don't convert the crypto back into cash, right? And you have what's called a crypto credit card attached to it. And that's a whole different scenario altogether. But there again, you're gonna have to sit with your accountant to get some accounting advice. You're gonna have to get some legal advice on the tax treatment of when you liquidate that money to your bank account. We clear? Now,
Fair.
once you liquidate that money back to your bank account, you can do anything with it. You can pay bills if you like. You can put it in your business if you like. The whole idea for me saying you want to put it in your business is because that gives you an extra tax basis within your business. So when that business, number one, gives you that money back, that comes back to you tax-free. Two, that also gives you support for when it's time for you to go after loans and lines of credits and everything else like that. The first question that is normally asked in any lending capacity is, how much money are you bringing to the table? And when you say, oh, I brought $200,000 to this company, that looks very different than, oh, I brought 50 cents to this business. It's two different scenarios. But one, you're likely to be more favorable in terms of getting a yes. The other one, in building your empire, you're going to need a couple of corporations, a couple of trusts, and you start with one corporation and then you build on that. So the whole goal is, for taxation purposes, there's an ocean of tax benefits when you have a corporation. However, if you don't have one, then that can be problematic for you, because now the roads to getting certain benefits you're now restricted. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know that I put in the chat the actual verbiage of what I explained, how this platform is actually performing. If you take a look in the chat, it'll be very clear what this opportunity is offering.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone on the line that's hearing this completely understands how this platform is performing. If you have any questions about that, just ask questions. No question is a dumb question, just ask it, because I want you to make sure that you understand just how this is performing. Does everybody understand just how this platform is performing?
Yeah. Let me go here and say create a deposit, right? Just for kicks and giggles. I'm in the platform. Right underneath the control panel, I'll hit create deposit. The minute I hit create deposit, that creates the verbiage and the language for the contract that they're going to express a little bit later on. And you see in for those of you who can see, underneath make a deposit, especially under the plan, there's two selections here. One is 3.3% for 30 business days. Anything that's not above the 2,500, if it's below, it falls into that 1% 30 business day cycle. All right. So I'll click here, the 3.3% points for 30 days. The currency, normally I like Bitcoin, and let's say it's 2,500. When we say invest now, I'll hit that button, and this on a live account, by the way. Nonetheless, they're going to give me an account right here to send that $2,500 to. And what you're seeing is the direct wallet address. And for those of you who think you can steal the wallet, go right ahead. It changes every time, right? So, and this will only be open as an order status for a very time frame, for a very few minutes. Nonetheless, this is where you would be sending your Bitcoin to this address. And once the Bitcoin arrives at this address, which takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, you will then have a contract established with this particular company. You don't have to do anything else from there other than monitor the returns that come in every day at 5 o'clock. So every day at 5 o'clock, I log in here and I see the number increase. And I see, for me, it's about 300 and some odd dollars a day. So that's fascinating. And I can't wait to see what in this particular platform what $1,000 a day would look like. So the other question, since I don't hear too many questions, what frustrated me to death was simply getting the money into the crypto wallet. Have any of you ever experienced that? And how long it takes sometimes to transfer cash over to the crypto wallet. You can unmute. Well, anyhow, it takes 4 to 5 days for cash to go into a crypto wallet. I use Gemini. I use Kraken, and I also use Cash App. However, Cash App is limited, right? So if you want to send that 2,600, you have to wait almost a week and a half in order to send that, because your maximum send with Cash App over a 1 week duration, I believe, is about $2,600. So you got to be mindful of how you're getting monies in and out of these platforms. And now we can always wire and get the money in less than 30 minutes, that kind of thing. But just going through the natural ACH process and connecting a bank account over to those wallets has proved to be a little challenging in terms of being patient in order to wait. So that was the most frustrating part of this whole process. In order to get the contract here with MetaFiYielders, it takes, there again, anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. But to put the money into the crypto wallet, that took some time.
And the reason why in the crypto space, if you're not familiar with the crypto space, is, I mean, super high security involved in protecting your funds in the cryptocurrency arena. So you will find that you have to do facial recognition. They want to hold your money to make sure it's you that's moving your money around and it's not, anyone else, and there's no hacking. And so there is a lot of preventive in that realm because of that. Most of the people in the space that have created anything in this space, as far as platforms, have, I don't know how many credentials behind their names of high cybersecurity. So that's a high part of a large part of this crypto space. So you're going to run into situations that they're just trying to protect you from any outside parties, attacking you. But it can be frustrating at first, but then when you find out all of the platforms pretty much have that level, you get used to it really quickly.
Well, I see Tori put a LOL in there. Um, she's laughing out loud because that's who it happened to. Nonetheless, she wanted to send the higher amount, and Cash App limit her to so much per time. So it was interesting, nonetheless.
Hey, Devaughn, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can you explain to the group, I guess, what the goal is as far as what should be in the active deposit every week, and then like how much earnings you would like to see every week, and then what's the goal for the next 30 to 60 days?
Sure. In my active deposit right now, there's over $11,000 in there, right? You don't have to go that high. Go with whatever you can afford. The goal for us as a group is to really just basically earn some money that we either can then turn around and invest it in real estate, or invest it in buying another business, or collaborating with others in the space. So for the active deposit, once you start with, and I would tell anybody, if you can start with the minimum of the $2,500, getting the 3.3 percentage points, you'd be far ahead in order to gain the cushion that's needed, especially if you wait this thing out to 7 to 8 months, right? And here's what I'm thinking: 25 turns to 5, 2 months. 5 turn to 10, 3 months. 10 turn to 20, 4th month. 20 turns to 40 in the 5th month. The 6th month, you're looking at 80. The 7th month, you're looking at about 180. So, over a duration of time, with you having that type of power to do something with, once you get to that 180 mark, you're now close to $4,000 or $5,000 a day, right? So the goal is to really just start with a minimum of the 2,500, and if you do nothing else, just let that thing double every month. Take your withdrawals. Make sure wherever you got that $2,500 from, you make sure put the money that you're withdrawing from back to that. So some people are using lines of credit, some people are using credit cards in this space, because once you complete one full cycle, guess what? And you pay the debt back, this thing is going to constantly grow. So at the end of the day, whenever a deal comes up, whether it's in this group or another group, and the deal is $1 million, guess what? We now have the capital and liquidity in order to take that deal down. So as we grow within this group, there shouldn't be a deal that's frightening to us, even if it's in the $10 or $20 million space. So that's the goal. And for this particular platform, just constantly grow your active deposit so that your account balance can constantly grow and you withdraw. Where we're finding the monies from, I'm finding the money, and I've mentioned it before, in credit unions, right? So the credit unions has given us almost a blank slate, and we're leveraging that blank slate slowly into these platforms, meaning all the eggs aren't in one basket. So there's 10 other platforms that I have to do, and it takes time in order to get a feel for the platform, do some research on each platform. But next week's platform is going to be interesting, primarily because they also do 3 percentage points. But unlike this particular company that's considered yield farming, that other one is compounding. So we want to get a better idea of all of these platforms in the space so that everyone can amass a certain level of wealth, so that once we transfer the wealth out of this space and start to accumulate assets or other business, you're well protected in a way in terms of scaling whatever your hands are on in that kind of way. Did I answer your question, Tori?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Alice.
I just wanted to say that I wanted to make sure that everyone understand that your money, and I like this platform also. There are some particular platform. There's no time that Devaughn, myself, all of our monies are locked away from us where we cannot get them out any day we want. If you take it out of the contract, and say you have an emergency, you have to take this money out, it'll be a 10% fee to take out the money to break the contract. But you can get the rest of all of your money back if need be. That's really important. And as you find out more about the space of cryptocurrency and these platforms, that's a really good feature. So you can always have access to you're in control of your money at all times. That's something that I wanted to make sure that people didn't think that once the contract is inactive, you cannot touch your money, the initial deposit, or no, you can actually go back in any day and take everything out, but you have to pay the 10% to break the contract just in case there's an emergency. But if at the end of the 30 business days and the contract is over, you can take all of it out with no penalty or fee at all. So you're always in control of your funds at all times. I wanted to make sure. I don't think that was mentioned this week yet. I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Right. Let's see here. Any additional questions?
Hey, Alice. Hey, everyone. Good night. I have a quick question. Is it 10% of the active deposit or it's 10% of the entire withdrawal?
It's 10%. If you're breaking the contract, it's 10% of whatever you're taking out. So say say Devaughn only wanted to take out 5,000 and leave the rest, right? Then he would be charged 10% of the 5,000.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. But don't forget, if you look at my balance here, I've already done greater than 10% within the first 4 days. Every at the 3.3 percentage points, you kind of hit 10% every 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, 30. So you could have withdrawn and then start over just to be on the safe side.
Correct. Now, I'll withdraw into another contract as soon as we have accumulated 2,500 here. So once we hit 2,500 here, I'll engage in another contract paying out at $82.50 per day. So now I'll keep doing that manually on my own. That's just as a strategy to scale as quickly as I can, leveraging the platform's own software. So when you see the active number again, that will be $2,500 higher. Right.
And just when you start the contract, you don't have to start at just 2,500. You can start with it, the minimum is 2,500. So say you want to start with 15,000. Well, you just change the number to 15,000 in the when you're picking your package, your contract to start, and you just put you're going to transfer 15,000 as opposed to 2,500. So there's no maximum to what each package can have in it from the initial. So I wanted to make sure you didn't just think it just had to be 2,500. No, it can be to the minimum is 25. And you can have as much in that one package as you want.
So the goal is clear. First one to $1 million, $4,000 a day.
Sounds good to me.
This is a quiet club. This is a quiet club.
That sounds real
When you
good.
have this kind of money in front, I want to hear from somebody. Clap your hands, raise your hand, saying, "I get it, I get it." Say something. I've never heard such a quiet investment group.
You know, a lot of people are shy, Allison, shy.
Are they? Okay.
Hey,
Well,
Allison, I'm not
hey.
shy. I'm not shy. But I was clapping, but you guys can hear me. I'm just letting you know I'm not shy. I truly am not shy. And I thank you very much for the information that you've provided, the clarification, the 3%, the maximum, the $2,500. I'm in. I'm good. I appreciate you know invited on this call. So I just wanted you guys to know that. Of
Awesome.
course,
And then maybe you can share your results soon.
oh yeah, sure. But you know, you have to get something before you can show, you
Of
could
course.
speak about it. So I'd love to
Of
be able
course.
to do that.
Of course.
No, it takes a minute in this space. Don't get me wrong. We knew about these platforms for about maybe a year and a half. However, it took Allison kicking and screaming at me in order to get me to jump, right? Because the light bulb didn't go on, right? I've had other friends in the space sharing their information with me. I did join Cash FX in 11 months. They have doubled their account and continue to double. But there again, life takes a toll on all of us sometimes, and we just get busy. So once we get busy focusing on something that we're truly passionate about, a lot of these things take a back seat. And for me, this took a back seat. The light bulb didn't go on until about 2 weeks ago with Allison kicking and screaming and Devaughn, get in, Devaughn, don't miss out. So that's how I started to take it a little bit seriously. And then once I saw the results producing what it did, we're kind of giving a lot more time now in order to building the bridges in this space, right? Because now we want to make sure that even if these platforms go dark, and heaven forbid, for whatever reason, we have 9 to 10 more platforms earning in a similar capacity. So can you imagine having $30,000 in 10 platforms doing 3 percentage points? Just saying, right? So now that works out to a lot of money. But at the end of the day, in order to be safe about this thing, you don't just go get a loan for $1 million and then put it into one platform. You just don't do that. You would scale in and scale out of these things after these things prove itself. So number one, you want to whatever monies you put in, you want to at least have the capacity to get that money back out safely and park it where you need to park it, and then do another platform. So you want the critical time frame is that first 30 to 42 days. You just want your initial monies back, because at the end of the day, a lot of these platforms are growing it on the back half as well too. And you want to be as safe as you possibly can. I'm going to stress that and urge that with everyone who take a stake in 1 or 2 or 3 of these platforms. Don't put all your money in one platform. Let's spread it around. So I'll introduce the next platform that I'll be engaged with on the next week call. All right. So with that said, everyone here should have my email. If you want to hit me up with a question, I'll send each and every one of you the affiliated link as well. John, you're kind of quiet tonight. John Lynn.
Yeah, I'm a turtle. If I don't know the moving parts, it's, I have to understand everything before I move. So, I'm not saying everybody should be like me, but You know, if I don't know where the money's going, what the loan terms are, what the APR is, you know me, I'm a nuts and bolts guy. So, and I'm already in digital in 2 other spaces, so I may not have the ability to grasp this right now.
And that's not a problem. However, for those of you who are on the call, John Lynn has done a number of fix and flips in our community. He has done a wonderful presentation on understanding and analyzing the numbers in one of our earlier YouTube sessions. And he did a really, really great job. So John, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself a little bit and just sharing who you are and what you do and everything else like that.
My name's John. I'm semi-retired in Florida, and for the last, well, let's just say 2012 through 2020, I did fix and flips, buy and holds, 6 properties, 4 of my own, 2 others with friends and family. And basically either flipping them long-term or buying, holding, renting. I still have another rental property right now I'm working with, and potentially another one. But basically, I'm probably, I would say, more than a beginner, somewhere in the intermediate stage. But I'm, you know, I did a presentation. What I like to do is I like to show people a path to start out when they're beginning in either a flip, a fix, or even their own home to buy, and show them how the numbers work and how they can take advantage of it, so that that process can kind of marry over to whatever they want to do in the future, be it a business, be it turning fix and flips, buy and hold rentals, or things of that nature. Currently, since COVID, I've kind of sold and not been a buyer for obvious reasons due to the market. But I'm looking potentially at getting involved further in the future. And in the current time, I'm just diversifying my personal portfolio into other things as I wait.
All right, good job, John. Thanks you so much, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to John, especially about fix and flips, primarily because sometimes you just need to share the information. And if any of you have any questions on the subject matter, please reach out to him. He does have a team behind him in terms of the legal team to help negotiate. Of course, that's not a free service, but at the end of the day, leverage it for what it's worth, because there's a tremendous amount of savings on the legal cost with his legal partnership that you can leverage for yourself. All right. Other than that, I'm going to wind this thing down. I will open up the floor. I'll hang out if there's additional questions. But I did wanted to highlight one more thing before we go, especially for those of you who are in business. Hit up Allison every now and then, specifically for, she represents a house that does working capital for start, not, is it startups, Allison, or the working capital needs for when you showcase revenue, and they will assess the revenue that's coming in and extend you a note based on the revenues coming in. So she's connected to a group like that will go as high as $500,000. But you have to have revenues coming in, and I think your revenues have to be somewhere north of $25,000 to $50,000 per month in order to qualify for the higher numbers. But some of the lowercase numbers, if you're already operating, they could fulfill some of your cash needs in terms of, and that has a place, especially for buyouts and everything else as well, like that too. But nonetheless, once you get to that stage in business where you want to scale and not use your money and leverage the cash flow that you have in order to do buyouts, or just bridge the needs that you have within your own business, there's some people out there who's willing to write a check for your business. However, with these systems, you may not need that, but nonetheless, it's an option. And I just wanted to know that you had additional options here.
Yes, just let me briefly explain. I have unsecured business lines of credit, starting as low as 50,000. That goes under your EIN, which is very helpful because it's not on your personal side. And then I also have unsecured cash that will be on your personal side, but you could use that with these kind of platforms. You see where you can really leverage that into what you grow here if you want to, and then, work that. But I also do have at higher levels. So if you have 25,000 plus coming in to your account, the minimum is 250,000 all the way up to 500,000, depending on how much you have going through your business accounts. It can be multiple accounts, but they have to be business accounts. But it all is unsecured line of credit that goes under your EIN, even at 250,000. So you can imagine what you could do with that. The interest rates are pretty low too, 4.9% to 18.9%, depending on your credit score. And your credit score only has to be 650. So with these particular platforms, you can see how quickly you could have 25,000 running through your business accounts with these kind of platforms. If you have the money going in, it doesn't have to stay in there, but it has to go through the account. So it's very interesting. You can actually leverage that quite a bit with these kind of platforms.
Tori asks, is it revolving?
It's a unsecured business line of credit that is all the funds are reported and activity is under your EIN, not your personal.
I think what she means by revolving is if you have a 250 and you use 50,000 out of it, and let's say you put it back, will you still be able to constantly draw down on it? So to answer your question, then yes, it's revolving, then Tori. So that is, and that's one of the strategies here as well too. Using lines of credit wherever you're getting it from, whether it be personal or business, and scaling into some of these mechanisms in order for advancement or the higher opportunity. Hint, hint.
Okay, I have a question, Allison.
Yes.
So if you don't have any income coming into your business at the moment, can you still get a line of credit?
Do you have a W-2 or 1099 income?
Yes.
Yes. That's actually preferable for the unsecured business lines of credit and or the unsecured cash that I was mentioning first. They love people who have W-2 or 1099 income. 75,000 or more is preferable, and or are investors that are looking for that kind of funding. That's like our ideal client for that particular kind of credit. So yeah.
And then what kind of amount would you, what kind of amount could we get?
Is minimum is about 50,000. Maximum, there is no maximum really. So depends on what you qualify for. I've had people qualify for 250, 300,000. Just depends on what their income is. W-2, pay stubs. W-2, 1099. Self-employed, you have to really be making at least 250,000 consistently for the last 2-3 years to qualify for that. But if you are W-2, 1099, for that particular level, you do well. But when it comes to the other unsecured line of credit, just having the money coming through your business account, multiple business accounts to equal 25 plus for the 250,000.
Okay.
You have to have credit scores for the money you're asking about. Also, you would want to have credit scores of 700 across the board, north of that. So you want 700 at least minimum, right? Credit scores for that. Now the other one I said is 650, right? For the other one that has 25,000 coming through your account.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm putting my information in the chat for you guys to reach out if you need any information.
All right. Allison, thank you for being on. Frank, thank you for coming on. John, you're wonderful as usual.
Have a good night, everyone.
And so I'm going to call it a night, and we will be here next week. I'll send out the affiliated link to everybody that was on the call tonight. So you should see an email with just the affiliated link in the next email I sent you. I'll send it out in 10 minutes. But thank you so much for all for coming, and we'll see you here next week, 7 o'clock.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, thank you.
All right, Orlando.
My great presentation.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, that was an interesting session. Hey, Mom, that's you? You got to unmute yourself, Mom. Oh, my mom was on tonight. No, check that out.